A golden city, hidden in the jungle, home to a lost tribe of golden-skinned giants, where all who enter are granted untold riches. Or is it a curse? Disguised as a legend, it lured explorers deep into the unknown. But what if it was never about gold? 5. El Dorado was originally a man, not a city. The name El Dorado translates to the Golden One, not the Golden City. The tale started with a single man, a chieftain from the Muisca people of modern-day Colombia. His name was variously given as Amu, El Dorado, Aro, or Galavidia. In the early 16th century, he participated in the ritual of the boiling lake, where tribal leaders would cover themselves in gold dust and jump into a lake to honor the sun god. However, when the Spanish conquistadors arrived, they mistook this sacred ceremony for a sign of wealth and power. So they attacked and killed the chieftains, seizing his gold and carrying tales of the mythical Golden Man back to Spain. With these stories came rumors of a hidden city made of gold, somewhere beyond the mountains and over the 7 rivers. These stories were likely inspired by another local legend, one that told of an actual golden city founded by a race of giants called the Pitia. Though no physical evidence of the Pia have ever been found, archaeological evidence has shown that the Muisca people did exist in northern Colombia around 2,000 years ago, and they lived amongst others, the Quimbaya, who were known for their skill in metalwork, making ornaments and jewelry out of gold and emeralds. Unfortunately, not much remains of their work today because when the conquistadors arrived, they saw the shimmering metals as a sign of wealth and began stealing or destroying them, which is why many believe the real El Dorado was not a man and not a city, but rather a person. Number 4. Entire expeditions vanished, searching for it. When Francisco Pizarro conquered the Inca Empire, he learned of the tales of El Dorado and became obsessed with finding it. He pored over old maps and gathered experts on local geography. Then in 1535, he led an expedition into the jungles of modern-day Colombia. They followed rivers, searching for the legendary city and often battling hostile tribes until they reached the modern Venezuelan border, at which point they ran out of food and turned back. Upon their return, they were met by a new ruler, Charles V, who was disinterested in tales of gold. But Pizarro wouldn't be deterred. He set off again in 1539, following the Orinoco River deep into the jungle. But within months, the entire expedition had vanished. It was the last time anyone had seen them. No trace of their camp was ever found, and no word of their fate has ever reached us. This story happened more than once as conquistadors kept returning to the area, only to disappear themselves. Even as late as 1732, expeditions were still being sent out to find the lost city, such as the one led by José Gutiérrez de Caviedes, who ventured deep into the jungle, traveled up tributaries of the Magdalena River, enduring battles with local tribes and attacks by Spanish rivals. After 10 long months, he finally returned home empty-handed. All told, the conquistadors launched at least 10 major expeditions in search of El Dorado, with each one coming up short. Most of their records were destroyed during the sack of Lima in 1822, but enough survived for historians to piece together a picture of their obsessive quest. 3. Spanish conquistadors burned villages for clues. You can learn a lot from the mistakes of others. That's probably a good motto for life, especially when those others are crazy, rich, and extremely vengeful. During the conquistadors' obsession with finding El Dorado, they weren't above doing anything to find the legendary city, including burning entire villages to the ground. One example of this occurred in modern-day Panama, where the conquistadors were pursuing reports of a man named Ursua, who some believed was El Dorado himself. Others claimed he was simply a runner who carried messages between the King of Peru and the tribes of Panama. Whatever the truth may be, the conquistadors weren't interested in hearing him out. They found him and executed him, then burned his village to the ground, hoping to find clues as to the whereabouts of the Golden City. However, nothing of importance was found, and the trail of El Dorado grew cold. But this wasn't the only time the conquistadors resorted to extreme measures in pursuit of gold. They even went to war with the Inca Empire itself, killing its king and seizing control of its vast territories, believing it to be the key to unlocking the secrets of El Dorado. Of course, that didn't pan out either, but we'll talk more about that later. 2. Indigenous tribes warned the gold was a trap. As the conquistadors spread rumors of the Golden City to anyone who would listen, word of it eventually made it back to the indigenous tribes. Unsurprisingly, they knew far more about the area than the outsiders, and most tried to warn them off. Legends told of a great evil that guarded the Golden City, and many advised the Spanish to stay away. In particular, there was one tribe whose warnings have become famous. When Sir Francis Drake landed in California in 1579, he encountered members of the Karuk tribe who warned him that the Spanish were after the legendary City of Gold, and if he wanted to avoid a terrible fate, he should turn back. Despite this warning, neither Drake nor many other explorers heeded the advice of the natives. Instead, the conquistadors pressed on, determined to find the fabled city. But in their wake, they left a trail of destruction and death. They pillaged and murdered across the lands, spreading disease and disrupting entire societies, all in the name of wealth and glory. Whether they ever actually found any gold is debatable, but one thing is certain, they found blood. And by the time they were done, much of South America would never be the same. 1. Some believe the real El Dorado is underwater. There is some debate as to whether or not El Dorado ever actually existed at all. Some historians believe it was simply a myth created by the Spanish to lure them into conquering South America. The theory goes like this. The conquistadors heard tales of wealth and power from the indigenous tribes, but twisted them to fit their own desires. They wrote of golden men and golden cities, of mountains made of gold and rivers flowing with gold, because that's what they wanted to believe. Others, however, believe the truth lies beneath the waves. According to this theory, El Dorado was once a real place, but it sits beneath the Caribbean Sea today. Supporters of this claim cite numerous anomalies found on old maps, such as islands that don't exist or continents that look suspiciously like modern-day South America. However, both theories have merit, and there is evidence to support each one. Ultimately, we may never know the truth behind El Dorado. But one thing is certain, the legends surrounding it have stood the test of time. In fact, tales of the Golden One still appear in modern fiction, such as in the video game Uncharted 2, among others. It's clear that the allure of the El Dorado will continue to capture our imaginations for generations to come. So what do you think? Do you believe El Dorado was ever real? Let me know in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe for more echoes of the past. See you next time.